you're just starting your writing journey, and it will change and evolve and grow as you change and evolve and grow. And there may be times when you go years without writing, and that's okay too. It may be something you come back to if you love it. And you may find that you really enjoy writing nonfiction, journalism. You may enjoy writing fiction. You may enjoy writing poetry, but all of it is connected. And a lot of the things that I learned as a journalist, I've been able to apply to my to my fiction writing and my novel writing. And it kind of goes the other way around too. A lot of the things that I learned about good writing good fiction also helped me become a better nonfiction writer and a better journalist. So there's a lot of overlap that you will learn as you explore and you experiment with different kinds of writing, even poetry. I'm not a poet myself. I've written some poetry. It's not very good, but it teaches you how to write really tightly, really concisely. And that can be very important as a journalist because you want to pack a lot of information into a very small amount of space oftentimes. And so just some of those things about learning how to pick the very right, perfect words to say what you want to say. And poetry can teach you that, and it can make all of your writing better. So don't be, I guess, be curious, be courageous in your writing, and try different things, and see where it takes you because it might take you somewhere unexpected. I have a couple of tools. I'm going to grab them here. Um, this is my paperback thesaurus that I got in high school. So this is a really old book, okay? It's like it's falling apart. In fact, I don't know how much longer it's going to live. The spine is really bad, but I keep it handy because I like to flip through things more so than be on the computer because I'm on the computer all the time. So your thesaurus, if you've got a word that you think isn't quite right, you look it up, and there's, a dozen other words in there that can mean the same thing. And so you can fine tune some of your words to be more specific and more literal and exactly what you want to say. So you don't want to just say he ran fast. You want to say he bolted or he sprinted. There's lots of other words that you can choose to describe things that maybe have a bit of an emotional context to them. If you bolted, that kind of implies that maybe you were scared. If it's sprinted, maybe you were just in a hurry, right? So those are the kinds of things. And then I also have a neat book called The Emotion Thesaurus. And it kind of goes through like, so for example, it's got an entry for everything. So anger is an emotion, right? And it tells you what some of the physical signals are, like what happens when you get angry. Maybe you start to sweat, or you start to breathe heavily, or you get red in the face. And so it's got a whole list of different things that happen, as well as your sort of internal sensations. Maybe your pulse starts to go faster, or you feel tense and your neck gets tense, or you feel heat in your body. So there's a lot of really neat descriptions in there. So when you're writing, you also want to think about all five senses. And as you're going back to revise your drafts, think about what you're feeling, what your physical senses are, what you're seeing, what you smell, what you hear. All of those descriptive things and those senses can really improve your writings. First of all, coming up with a title is like the hardest thing to do. I start off with a working title. It was originally Cold. That was just one word. That was going to be my working title. And that's been the case with all of my books. I usually just come up with whatever, I sort of know what the concept of the story is. And I use that as my working title for all my rough drafts. And then as the draft evolves, I get more ideas. And so oftentimes the title for my book comes to me pretty much almost at the very end. So it's okay if as you're writing, you don't have your title already. My story is about it has a couple of themes to it, literary themes. So one is the idea of a cold case, right? So that's how I started off with cold. It's about a body that was discovered and they didn't know who it was or what happened to this person. So it was a cold case in that respect. It's also set in northern Minnesota along the border of Minnesota and Canada and along the Rainy River, which is a real river up there. And it's actually one of the coldest rivers on the planet Earth. It's one of the 5 top coldest rivers. And I had stumbled upon that in my research and I knew I wanted, for the story idea that I had, I knew I wanted it to be on a river somewhere. So here I am with cold case, cold river, and then the family part of the story has to do with sort of emotional coldness, where the family has secrets and they've kind of closed each other off and pulled within themselves and not really shared and talked. And so that was the idea. So as I started working and as I started researching and writing about Minnesota, a lot different than living in Arizona, guys. It's so cold there. Even in the summer, like the high temperature might be 70 degrees. And so even in the summer, there might be frost on the ground in the morning. So bitter, bitter cold, right? That's what I was thinking. I was getting goosebumps as I was researching it and writing about this cold, cold place. So bitter cold. And then the bitterness that people feel when they find out that somebody's been keeping a secret from them all their life, or just the bitterness that they may resent a family member for some other reason. In this case, the man, his mom had relocated him across the country, and well, he was in high school, and so he kind of had these bitter feelings against his mom all those years for doing that to him. So bitter feelings, bitter coldness. And then as the story progressed, this family started opening up and sharing their stories, and their relationship started to thaw, and they warmed up to one another. And so bitter thaw. And that's how the idea came to me. And it really, like I said, it happened gradually as I was writing and writing about these relationships and writing about the setting that it was taking place in. And all of these words kept popping into my head. And as I write, I would make little notes to myself about, sort of key words and key themes and ideas that were sticking in my head. And then I was kind of looking at all of them saying, okay, how do they fit together? It's almost like a puzzle. And that's how it came to be.